Now, the great Louisiana Senator, Mr. John Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy, welcome back, sir. First of all, if you would, a quick word on your colleague, who is now the Speaker of the House. What do you think of that? From Louisiana, the first one, I think, in your state's history.
I'm so proud of Mike. Larry, I've known him since he was a pup. He's whip smart, policy maven. He's controlled. He's confident. He plays well with others. He's humble. He's a devout Christian. Incredible work ethic. And he does wonderful impersonations. You will, when you visit with him, if you haven't already, ask him to do a few of his impersonations. He's got a wonderful sense of humor. Good choice. Well worth waiting for.
Does he have a really first-rate impersonation of Senator John Kennedy?
Well, actually, he does. I have heard it, but I haven't. He hasn't done it for me, but I've seen him do others.
I don't think anybody can replicate you, Mr. Kennedy. Nobody can. Let me move on and talk about this dreadful, dreadful war and Hamas invasion to Israel. Over 30 Americans were killed in the Hamas invasion, and it has been reported that over 30 Americans have been injured in various attacks on U.S. military assets, ships, airfields, our embassy in Iraq. These are attacks by terrorist rockets, all the terrorist group backed by Iran. So, Senator Kennedy, my question is, isn't it about time, since these acts of war have been repeatedly committed against the United States, for the United States, for the Biden administration, to do something about it and maybe draw a red line someplace to indicate we are aware that these are acts of war against the United States?
Let me put it this way, Larry. There are two reasons that I don't trust most people in Washington, D.C. First, I don't know them. And number two, I do. President Biden, for the last 2 years, has adopted the consensus view about how to handle Ukraine. And you can sum it up with love is the answer. The Biden administration keeps giving Ukraine money. Iran money. And they've done it repeatedly. And Iran keeps biting our hand. In the last couple of weeks, you mentioned it, Iran has attacked American assets 16 times. We've done nothing. And President Biden, in response, he just keeps giving them money. He hasn't enforced the sanctions on Iran's oil. They're producing about 1 million barrels a day. He tried to give them $6 billion in a prisoner swap. We stopped that. Through the International Monetary Fund, he's already given them $4.5 billion. He's trying to give them another $5 billion through a bill the Democrats have. And, unless you think there's an award for being stupid, you understand that peace through weakness never works with people like the Ayatollah. Mm-hmm. The Ayatollah, they hate Americans. He hates the Jewish people. He wants to kill all of us and drink our blood out of a boot. Mm. And you can't say, well, we can sit down and reason. They just respect strength.
You know, I was one of the participants in putting together the Trump administration's sanctions on Iran. Okay, I just want to. I'm not beating my breast. Believe me, I'm just saying for context. The relaxation of sanctions is one of the key elements, I believe, of this war, and the weakness that Mr. Biden has projected that you just talked about. So, Senator Kennedy, when Antony Blinken says we're going to do something about Iran or sanctions, which they haven't done, when President Biden, says don't, whatever that may mean, you know what I would say? How about stopping a ship? Okay, the sanctions prohibit Iran from shipping oil to whomever. It goes to China mostly, as you know. 3.5 million barrels a day. Stop a ship. Interdict a ship to show that we are serious about a deterrence with respect to the master puppeteer and terrorist financier Iran. Stop a ship. How about that, Senator?
Well, you were one of the architects of the sanctions on Iran, so you understand this. Sanctions don't matter if you don't enforce them. And
yes.
there was a time when you were in office when we had Iran down and we were choking them to death. We'd cut off their cash flow.
Yes.
President Biden and his
Yes.
people have let them up. They're selling 1 million barrels a day. He gave them, through the International Monetary Fund, $4.5 billion cash. He tried to give them another $6 billion. He says he won't do it, but the Democrats have a bill in Congress to give them another $5 billion. Iran was behind what happened in Israel. We all know that. And in the last few weeks, Iran or its surrogates have attacked Americans or American assets in the Middle East 16 times. And yet the president continues to believe that peace through weakness will work. You know,
I'm just saying,
stupid should hurt more.
I agree. There you go. I mean, look, I'm just saying. I mean, by the way, Steve Mnuchin was Treasury Secretary, was Ketis, Pompeo and O'Brien and John Bolton and the whole crew. And the president approved of that advice. But I'm just saying this, Senator Kennedy. In return for these acts of war against the United States, in return for the fact that the terrorist Iranian enemy has killed over 30 Americans, another dozen hostages, wounded another 30 through these most recent attacks, in return for that, we need a deterrence. Not appeasement, a deterrence. And I'm just saying, draw a line, just stop a ship. That would send a message. Kind of like killing Soleimani. You remember when we did that? Trump did that? Stop a ship. Say, no, you're breaking it. You're breaking the sanctions law. That's what I would do, sir.
Well, President Biden can start by just stop giving them money.
All right.
All these acts of terrorism, cost money. He should, at a minimum, stop that. I understand why he's acting as he is. I don't agree with him. He is scared of Iran. He thinks that, well, we don't want this to escalate. Well, the Iranians interpret that as weakness. Sometimes you've got to stand up for yourself.
Yes, sir. I want Iran to be scared of us, but that ain't happening now. You're right, Senator Kennedy. I agree. You have a bill, the No Dollars for Dictator Act. I want to put that in. I know you're pushing that. I know we're on the same page. And as always, Senator, it's a pleasure to see you. Thanks for coming back on the show.